It's not enough. They want to control your health, your education, and your finances. Now they want to control what we say, what we hear, and what we think, too, all under the guise of protecting you. Yeah, the news came out yesterday as if by accident. The incompetent Homeland Security Chief, Alejandro Mayorkas, was testifying on Capitol Hill about the border mess. And we're doing a bang-up job, everybody. And that's when he revealed the White House is creating its own Ministry of Information. Watch.
Have just established a Mis- and Disinformation Governance Board in the Department of Homeland Security to more effectively combat this threat, not only to election security, but to our homeland security.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They want to protect you from so-called disinformation and misinformation. Misinformation. So who decides what that is and what constitutes disinformation? Who's the arbiter of what is true and what is false? Turns out it's this woman. Her name is Nina Jankowicz. It's okay if you don't know her. I don't know her, and I already don't like her. So what are her credentials for such a lofty position? Well, she's written some books and some columns for the New York Times and Washington Post. That's a red flag. She tweeted that Elon Musk is bad for free speech. Another red flag. And she also once claimed the Hunter Biden laptop story was disinformation. We, of course, now know that story was in fact true. 3 red flags. Tres rojo flags. That should probably disqualify her, right? Well, today at the White House, our very own Jackie Heinrich asked Jen Psaki about all of that. Watch.
How can you assuage concerns of people who are looking at this person who's been appointed to this position and wondering if she's going to be able to accurately judge misinformation now that a lot of that reporting has been proven to be factual in some ways?
I don't have any comments on the laptop, but what I can tell you is that it sounds like the objective of the board is to prevent disinformation and misinformation from traveling around the country in a range of communities. I'm not sure who opposes that effort, and I don't know who this individual is, so I have no comment on it specifically.
Yeah, I don't know her. I don't know anything about her. Don't know her. Can't vouch for her. Thanks, Jen. Very useful. Regardless of who she is, shouldn't the idea the White House is going to decide what is true and what isn't that deeply alarming for all Americans? Well, let's get into it with tonight's luscious party panel. We've got the host of the Gary and Shannon Show on KFI AM 640 in Los Angeles. It is Gary Hoffman. We've got Fox News political analyst and my friend Juan Williams right there holding up the nation's capital, and director of the Libertarian Institute, Scott Horton, is back, and I can't wait for it. So, Gary, I will start with you. Who decides what constitutes misinformation? Because my worry is someone's misinformation might be someone else's facts. But if those facts are politically inconvenient, then they'll be dressed up as misinformation. And that's dangerous regardless of who is in power.
Yeah, the cherry on this ice cream sundae would have been if Alejandro Mayorkas named Winston Smith the head of this disinformation board. It's just ridiculous. Can we all agree, since we're sophomores in high school, can't we all agree that anything that even closely resembles an Orwellian novel should not be instituted in the United States? This is absolutely fantastic. It's fantastical. I understand, like you said, there should be somebody who doesn't want to listen to lies. That's completely understandable. Even Jen Psaki had it right. I don't know anybody who wants to fall for lies. But what they're talking about is going to absolutely lend itself to silencing political opponents. That should be abhorrent. That should be absolutely off limits in this country. And why the party, why the Democratic Party, why this White House doesn't see that should disturb everybody.
Agreed, Gary, and it doesn't. And one, that is what is so concerning to me, because just last week, Nina Jankowicz said, I shudder to think about if free speech absolutists were taking over more platforms, what that would look like for marginalized communities. So why is free speech bad for marginalized communities, Juan?
I think you're setting me up, Kennedy, but I appreciate that. The reality is that they're really looking at Black and Latino communities, and they're looking at the power of disinformation on those communities. I think you'll know that the Russians in 2016 targeted the Black communities specifically in terms of trying to boost Trump and denigrate Hillary Clinton. And they had some success. It wasn't overwhelming. Obviously, most of those folks voted for Hillary Clinton. But I mean, to me, even today, you have Barack Obama, the first Black president. I think he just gave a major speech about the power that disinformation is having on our country and our politics, polarizing people. As long as the government doesn't act to silence anybody, but simply to point out that these are lies and conspiracy theories, I don't think this is 1984. I think this is 2022.
I think
and it's
2022
about time. Even some of these
is
Facebook
scarier than some of the premises in 1984. I really do. And, I don't. My problem with this is this woman is acting like a white savior because Black and brown communities are so vulnerable. And, what she's saying, the subtext is they're so dumb they can't think for themselves. So we need the government to act as a filter to make sure they're getting the right information. That, on its face, is racist, and I'm offended by it. But I guess my problem with, a government agency giving itself the power to tell lies from truth, Scott, when I think of you, I think of you as a truth seeker and someone who looks at the grand body politic and you can see where the lies have popped up throughout over time.
Yeah, and of course, always about the absolute most important things. Bill Clinton lied that the Serbs had slaughtered 100,000 Kosovar Albanians in order to launch that war in 1999. W. Bush lied that Saddam Hussein was going to give nuclear bombs to Osama bin Laden to, blow up your hometown with. Barack Obama claimed that Muammar Gaddafi was about to murder 700,000 people, the entire population of Benghazi, and he was passing out Viagra to all his troops to rape every woman and girl in the country of Libya at the time, a total hoax. He also claimed that Zarqawi's men were just moderate rebels in Syria as they were building the caliphate, leading to then Iraq War III, another 500,000 people killed, and started the war in Yemen, which Donald Trump ludicrously claimed we were getting paid $450 billion from the Saudis to wage. At what price for a genocide when, of course, they spend $2-3 billion a year on the war. And, of course, during that whole time, the CIA and the FBI told 1,000 lies about Donald Trump, which Juan still believes some of, apparently, in this Russiagate hoax, which never happened whatsoever. And then they lied that, get this, that Russian spies planted crackhead Hunter's laptop at a repair shop in Delaware, which the entire media then went along with that hoax and big tech in crushing that story.
Including
and they lie all
Nina
day,
Jankowicz.
every day.
Nina Jankowicz said that Hunter Biden's laptop was a product of the Trump campaign. And she's the one who's in charge of all this. I can't imagine the scope of her power, but already it's eerie and terrifying.
And Kennedy,
yes.
She's involved with the National Democratic Institute, which is, of course, involved in the coup of 2014. I was going to say they lie every day that this war is unprovoked when everybody knows they provoked it. And this particular lady has a conflict of interest in that.
Yeah, it sounds like she has a conflict of interest with the truth and skepticism in reality. Meanwhile, the king of misinformation, well, he's done it again just one day after we got a little bit of sweet relief from Dr. Anthony Fauci. The pandemic, it's over. Well, now guess what? He's walking back his comments. Watch.
We are certainly right now in this country out of the pandemic phase. Namely, we don't have 900,000 new infections a day and tens and tens and tens of thousands of hospitalizations and thousands of deaths. I want to clarify one thing, Jen. I probably should have said the acute component of the pandemic phase. And I think, I understand how that could lead to some misinterpretation. Is the pandemic still here? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Are beagles still here? They are, but not if I have anything to do with it. This guy has more flip-flops than a YMCA shower. No wonder everyone is confused all the time. So when will he just go away, like the pandemic has? Gary, you're doing something wrong if you make a statement and you automatically have to backtrack and clarify it the next day. And that is the only consistent thing about Anthony Fauci.
Yeah, it feels really weird to see this guy speaking once again. I actually lost track of Anthony Fauci for a couple of weeks, if not a couple of months, and I live in California where we're still dealing with emergency powers for our governor because of this I don't know, acute. None of this makes any sense anymore. Anybody who's listening to Anthony Fauci or public health department officials anymore regarding the pandemic, which is now endemic in the United States, it doesn't make any sense. They screwed it up from the beginning. And I'm not saying that they screwed up the handling of it. That's a different issue. They screwed up the communication of everything that they know and didn't know at the time when this all started. Anthony Fauci has been the absolute, I guess you could say, the figurehead of just screwing it up. Now, I don't think the guy has a mean bone in his body. I just think he's been screwing it up left and right and then not allowing himself the honesty to say the truth. He lied about whether or not you needed masks in the beginning because he wanted to protect the supply of masks. That's a benevolent lie. It's still an absolute lie to begin with. This type of thing is over. They're losing their steam, these public health officials. This was their Super Bowl. The 2-minute warning has sounded. The game is a blowout. We're going to win this thing. It's over. Go celebrate with the trophy and, get your confetti.
Get your ass off the field. So, Juan, when the pandemic is over, doesn't that mean that Fauci is irrelevant?
Well, yeah, if it's over, it's not irrelevant because we still need the National Institutes of Health. We have health issues. That's clear. But in terms of the pandemic, once he says it's over, that was just miscommunication. I loved your analogy of the flip-flops in the gym. You could have gone worse. It looks like a fish out of water flip-flopping around because he should at this point know the power of his words. And he is very credible to many people. Obviously not on this panel, but many people see Dr. Fauci as representing the science and the best of the American science.
If you attack me, you attack science. Are you skeptical of Dr. Fauci, Scott Horton?
Oh, I don't know who listens to this guy anymore. As you guys covered on the show last night, none of the government's interventions worked. You compare the lockdown states to the non-lockdown states, the face mask mandate cities to the ones that didn't have them, and it all was a wash. Government didn't help anyone during this time at all. So what we do is, when we defund and destroy and repeal the Department of Homeland Security, we go ahead and add the FDA and the NIH and the CDC to them as well. And, people should demand the old normal back.
Yes.
None of this, the new normal ratchet effect. We have to demand total liberty, let the free market take care of it, and smash all of the corporate cartels as well, and let the free market take care of it. We don't need these people. As Prince Bandar bin Sultan said about the Shiites, when he was trying to justify Saudi support for ISIS, he said, "We're just sick and tired of them. We've had enough of them."
Yes.
And that's how I feel about the entire national government at this point and the entire so-called public health establishment.
I am sick of the beagle killer. You can no longer kill beagles and my freedom. Man panel, please stick around. It is game night, and we're going to test their street. Oh my God, that's the most legit opening we have. It's time for America's favorite game of Lingo Bingo. It is Word on the Street, where we test your knowledge of all the slang terms the kids love. I'll ask our panelists to define terms and expressions used by the youngs today. If they get it right, they get 2 points. If they need a hint, they only get 1. Whoever speaks the most Gen Z jargon gets to stay out till 11 on a school night of their choice. Gary, Juan, and Scott, are you all ready?
No.
Absolutely.
Let's play Word on the Street. Juan, my money is on you. Gary, this is for you. Define the word high key. Or do you need a clue? You'll lose a point.
High key.
What does it mean?
I'll take the clue in exchange for the point.
Okay. Used in a sentence, I high-key want that shirt.
Kennedy, the meaning of the term high key would be really or enthusiastically.
Absolutely right, Gary Hoffman. 1 on the board. It's a big night. We're off to the races. Juan, here you go. This is your word. The word is woke fishing. Would you like to guess the definition, or would you like me to use it rather in a sentence, and you would lose a point?
I'll take this. I'll take the hint.
Okay, the hint is he said that he wanted to dissolve the police, but I think he was just woke fishing.
Well, my guess is then that he's really playing games, trying to find out who thinks they're so woke and expose them as a fraud.
Yes, it's lying about your level of wokeness to attract a dating partner, a variation of catfishing. I'm going to give Juan half a point for that one. Juan, you're on the board. Well done.
Okay.
Scott Horton, here you go. Your word is roaching. Would you like to guess its definition, or would you like me to use it in a sentence?
Oh, I think I know this one.
Okay.
This is when you've got a massive proxy war right on Russia's border, and your Secretary of State has not spoken to their foreign minister in 2.5 months.
Well, the definition is cheating in a relationship. I'm going to give Scott half a point for that one. Gary Hoffman is still in the lead. All right, Gary, here is your next word. Your next term is main character. Would you like me to use it in a sentence, or would you like to define it?
I think I'm going to go for the definition on this one for the full 2 points. Okay. Main character would be, say, somebody who is the main person or subject of something that goes viral, if it's a tweet or a video or TikTok or whatever the kids say these days.
It's someone with natural charisma, well-liked and confident. I'll give you a point for that. It's not exact, but there's something there. Gary's in the lead with 2 points. Juan and Scott each have half a point. Juan, this one is for you. The term, Juan, is groundhogging. Would you like me to use it in a sentence, or would you like to guess what it is?
Groundhogging. So give me a clue.
Used in a sentence, after dating all 7 members of the boy band BTS, only to remain single, I believe I have been groundhogging.
Well, so I guess that means sampling. Like, she wasn't serious about anything. She's just popping up here and there and seeing what's around, looking around.
Juan will get a half a point for that. It's pursuing the same type of romantic partner over and over again and getting the same results. You get a half point for being close and really trying. Scott, this is for you. The word is period.
No whammies.
Period. The word period with a T at the end.
I'll need a clue on this one, Kennedy.
Okay, your sentence is, I never want to see you again, period.
I think that's when you've been locked in Guantanamo Bay prison for 20 years without a trial.
It's a more intense version of period, so you know what? You do get a half a point for that. Very good. Juan, you and Scott both
the American way.
You added up to a point each. Gary's still in the lead with 2. This is our last round. It's a speed round. Gary, this is Dager. Sorry, Dager. Dager, D-A-Y-G-E-R. Do you know what that means, Gary?
You'd have to use it in a sentence for me to be certain.
Your sentence is, yesterday we had a dager at Kennedy's house. Dager.
Oh, a daytime rager,
Yes!
a party full of liquor at Kennedy's house.
Yes! Gary gets the full point. Good job,
Wow.
Gary. Juan, this is for you. Your word is pressed. Would you like me to use it in a sentence, or do you want to guess?
I better guess to catch up with Gary. I was impressed by that last one. So I guess it doesn't mean that you're under pressure. I think it means like you're impressed, like like you've made a star impression, like you're shining.
Gary, sorry, Juan, I can't give you any points. It actually means mad, stressed, or upset. You kind of gave me the opposite.
Oh, gosh,
I wanted to give you the points. Scott, this is for you. The word is caspering. Caspering.
Caspering. That is the ghosts of the hundreds of thousands of people that Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden have killed in Yemen. But we're celebrating the Ramadan ceasefire that's going pretty well right now. and it's the best news so far this year.
You know what? I'm going to give you 3 points for that. You win, Scott.
What?
Scott wins the game.
All right. That's right.
Scott wins the game. He was a dark horse,
He's
but
to the Yemenis.
by God, he wins the whole thing. Gary, Juan, Scott, thank you all for playing. Scott, that was tremendous.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Well done.
Kennedy.
All right, thank you.